Your first month of blogging can be a bit overwhelming. There are a lot of new tools to learn how to use, new strategies to try, and money to try to make. If I was starting a blog over from day one right now, there are a lot of things I would focus on and a lot of things I would leave behind. So if you're looking to grow your blog quickly, these are the 5 things I would do within the first month of starting my blog. But before we get into that, let's set some expectations here. The first thing to know about blogging is this is no get-rich-quick scheme. This isn't something that you're going to start 1 month and have running like a well-oiled machine by the second month. It just doesn't work like that. There are still things that I am learning and tweaking on my blog today, which may sound overwhelming to those of us that are perfectionists and need to have everything perfect before we ever start. But I choose to look at this a little differently now that I've been doing this for a little while. Allow the fact that you're always me changing, learning, and growing to kind of comfort you and relax you a little bit as opposed to stress you out. Meaning that it's okay to not have everything perfect when you start, because you are always going to be learning something new. You're always going to be changing. You're always going to be improving. So you don't have to have everything perfect when you start. You are allowed to just start and have things broken and not working properly and not be running things the most efficient way. You're allowed to do that. It's okay. Instead of never starting your blog because everything needed to be perfect before you even started. You're not going to have everything perfect to start, and you're likely not going to be successful right away. Of course, there are going to be some outliers, and there always are in business and just life in general. There's always people who get this thing going right out of the gate and start making money and are successful pretty quickly. I am not one of those people, and it's not likely that you're going to be one of those people either, and that is okay. So be prepared to put in some real work, time, effort, and money before you start to see this thing really growing. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about what I would do if I was starting a blog today within the first month. The first thing that you want to do is clearly define who your audience is. Because at this point, I'm assuming you have your blog set up, you have your theme installed, and you're ready to start writing blog posts. And if this isn't the case and you aren't there quite yet, make sure to check out this video right here for the complete beginner's guide on how to start a blog. But if you are past that point already, once all of that is set up, you need to now clearly define who your audience is. And it's important to know this. The creator who knows their audience best wins. Meaning, if you don't know who you're talking to and you have no idea who your audience is and you're writing just to write, you are not going to be very successful. If you are writing for everybody, you're going to end up talking to nobody. And this is another one of those things that is not going to be perfect to start. Your target audience is going to shift ever so slightly and evolve over time. However, I wouldn't shift super drastically. Like, I wouldn't target hikers 1 year and then the next year you're targeting gourmet chefs. That's going to be way too much of a shift in your business. It's going to get messy and it's going to get confusing. Take it from someone who's done that. But over time, you're going to get clearer and clearer on who your audience is, and you're going to narrow down and just get really, really specific on who your audience is. Because if you are going to be blogging for a long time, you need to think about how the decisions you make now are going to affect you in the future. If you're posting blog posts on the best hikes that you went on, and now all of a sudden you're talking about this gourmet dish that you just made, chances are your audience is not going to be interested in that topic if they were originally hikers. And that is one of the mistakes that I made on my blog. When I started out, I was targeting a small audience, which is a good thing. And over time, I decided I thought that I wanted to broaden my niche and talk to more people and have more topics on my blog and be more of a lifestyle blog. And that is where I screwed up. I started writing about topics that were all over the place. I saw the next shiny object and said, that sounds interesting to talk about, that sounds interesting to talk about, and so does that, and started writing things that were all over the place. And for years, my blog has been a complete mess. The audience that I was attracting was all over the place, and I had no idea what direction I was going in my business. I just recently, and by recently, I mean literally this month, started fixing my mistakes and narrowing my blog down to the core audience that I've always wanted to target, which is content creators. And we'll talk a little bit more about niching down in this video, but I don't want to see you make the same mistakes that I did. So make sure you're super clear on who your audience is and try not to deviate too far from that. You'll want to answer specific questions about them, like what do they like? What problems do they have? What questions are they asking and how can you help them? You'll also want to know from a broader perspective, how do you stand out from other bloggers who are talking about the same topic that you're talking about? What angle can you come into this conversation with that is going to target your audience and be different than the competition? And these are questions that you're going to answer over time. So I don't want you to get overwhelmed because you're like, I have no idea. This is going to be something that is going to happen over time. So I would not stress about every single one of these questions if you do not have them up front front because, like I said, I have just been starting to answer these questions myself and really redefine who my audience is within the last month. And I have been doing this vlog since 2019. So it's okay that you don't have all the answers. But for right now, try to answer the questions as best as you can and use these other questions that you don't know the answer to as like a guide for how clear you want to get on your audience in the future. For me, my target audience is content creators, more specifically beginner bloggers. And I have done my research on this topic. I know what questions you have and I know what answers you're going to find from other content creators when you search up those questions. This video right here is based on a question that I got from one of my subscribers. And I didn't have a video on the topic, so I decided to create it. I sat here and I put myself in the mind of someone who is just starting a blog and using my perspective now, figured out what questions you would have and what I would do if I was just starting out in your perspective. And that is one of the important things that you want to do when you are trying to define your audience and define blog posts and topics that you're going to talk about, is get yourself into the mind of the people you are trying to help, but also use your perspective as someone who is no longer having that issue for how you fixed it or how you would fix it or what you would do in their situations in order to really target who your audience is. So I know what questions you are asking, and I also know what questions you should be asking but don't even know that you should be asking yet because I've already been through it. And I also know what sets me apart from other content creators. I make sure to give my audience insights and advice that other people are not giving them, but I know that you guys need. When you search up how to start a blog, for example, I know exactly what you are going to get in 90% of those videos. You are going to get the same questions answered over and over and over again. And I know that you no longer need those questions answered because you can find it from every content creator. So the video that I recommended to you a little bit ago, how to start a blog for absolute beginners, I made sure to not answer any of those questions because you already have them answered from every creator. I made sure to give you insights or information that you do need to know to start a blog, but that no other content creator is giving you. And that video has done extremely well for me. So this strategy works wonders. This video has been my top referrer to my YouTube channel for the last 365 days. And the comments on that video are frequently telling me how this video has been helpful to them and how I'm giving information that other content creators are not, which is the exact thing that I was trying to do with that video. So when you can start to do the same thing for your blog, and you will learn how to do that over time, that is when you will start to win. Once you have clearly, to the best of your ability, as you are right now, defined who your audience is, now you need to know what topics you're going to be writing about. Chances are, if you've gotten this far into starting a blog, you already have a niche in mind, but now you need to get specific on the actual topics you're going to be talking about on your blog, because these are going to be the categories that you have on your blog that you organize in your top drop-down menu on your navigation bar so that your audience, when they come to your blog, they'll be able to clearly find what they're looking for. And this also helps keep you organized as well because you know what all of your blog posts are going to be centered around and what topics they're going to fit in. So overall, what topics do you want to talk about on your blog? And I would recommend starting out with 1 to 2, at max 3 topics on your blog because you don't want to overwhelm yourself with ideas. I am sure you have a ton of ideas and you want to write about everything under the sun in your niche because you're super excited when you start a blog, and you're going to be able to do that. However, you're not going to do it within the first month of blogging. So you want to kind of rein in your excitement a little bit, put those ideas on the shelf. You will get to all of them, I'm sure. This does not mean if you start with 1 to 2 topics that you cannot expand over time, but that is over time. Within the first month of blogging, you need to focus. And that is one of the hard things of being a content creator, is trying to focus. It's something that I find hard to come by, so I understand why you would want to talk about a bunch of things all at once. But here's a few reasons why you shouldn't talk about everything. First of all, if you want to rank on Google, you're going to need to show Google that you have all of the answers to the questions that people are asking in your niche. Because the way that Google ranks things on their search bar is they rank them by the sites that have the best answers and the most authority on that topic. And also, if you want to attract the same readers over and over and over again, you want to have similar topics on your blog that they are going to be interested in. This is going to help you get more money in the long run because your readers will keep coming back. You can interlink your blog posts smoothly. You'll know who you're targeting on social media. You can send out better email marketing campaigns. You can make similar products, and you can have a better chance at affiliate marketing. Now that is a lot of stuff, and not all of this do you need to worry about within the first month, but this is what you need to be thinking about when you're starting a blog and coming up with topics. You want to make your life easier in the long run. So if that is overwhelming and you have no idea what the heck I just said, it is totally okay. Let's talk about a few things that you want to focus on within the first month. And the most important one is ranking on Google so that you can get that sweet organic traffic. Like I said, Google is going to rank posts in their search based off of who has the most authority and the best answers. So if you are a baker and you only talk about how to bake bread, something super specific, which I don't recommend you only talk about how to bake bread, but let's say you should for this example. If you have every single topic and every single question and every single angle covered about how to bake bread or bake in general, then you are going to be the top referrer likely for how to bake bread and different topics like that. It's going to be easier for Google to understand what your blog is about and say, yeah, they have all these answers. They have written the best blog posts on it. They have their inner links done, all the things that Google takes to rank, and they're going to rank you. However, if you are talking about 3 different topics, you're talking about fashion, you're talking about cooking, and you're talking about hiking, Google is not going to know what you're an authority on. Google is not going to know what to send your readers, and it is possible to rank with a multi-niche blog, but these are things that you get ranked with over time. It's not something that you do within the first month of blogging. So that is why you want to stay specific within your first month. And within your first year or two, really, but of course, we're just talking about the first month here. You can also curate your audience easier. If you are posting about 4 different topics and you're only posting once a week, you're gonna try and rotate out your topics that you're talking about naturally because you want to hit all of your bases. So if someone came to your blog once because they liked your bread baking recipe, but now you're talking about your recent trip abroad, your favorite coffee shop, and the new crochet pattern you just tried out, people are likely going to leave if they went there for your bread baking posts. And then when and if they do come back again, because getting people to come back to your blog is kind of difficult, when and if they do come back again, if you're still not talking about that topic and you're talking about a bunch of other things, they're likely not going to come back a third time because you no longer have what they're interested in. So it's going to be harder to keep and attract an audience and segment everything out perfectly so that people want to come back. This also helps with email list marketing if you decide to do that, and also social media marketing as well. Because if you're curating an email list of people who are interested in bread baking, but all of a sudden you're posting about your favorite new shoes, people are not going to be interested in that. You're probably not even going to bother to send them that email. And if you do, people are either going to unsubscribe after some time or just not click on it. And they're not going to come back to your blog because you're not talking about things they're interested in. Same thing with social media. If you are curating an audience of everybody under the sun and anybody is following you, chances are they're only going to click on 25% of your posts if you're posting 4 things that are totally different topics. And they might over time unfollow you. But you can also create content easier in general with only a few topics to start, because your blog is going to be pretty bare within the first month, really within the first couple months. So if you are trying to fill a bunch of different categories, it's going to be hard. You're going to spread yourself thin because you're not really going to know what to post about. You're just going to post about everything. Versus if you have 1 to 2 topics, you're going to fill up those categories a lot quicker because you only have 1 or 2 topics to post about. On top of that, you can interlink posts easier, which is going to help you have readers click around on your blog a little bit. Because if you're only posting on 1 topic, you're like, hey, this blog post is related to this one. So if you're interested in this topic, you might be interested in this topic, and you can interlink your post easier. And if it does match what people are interested in, they're going to click through that other link. They're going to read multiple blog posts. As opposed to if you have a bunch of different things that you can't interlink with each other, people aren't going to click around in your blog as much. They might not stay as long. And if you have affiliate marketing products in there, it's going to be easier to figure out what products to recommend to people. They're going to trust you more because they're reading more blog posts, so they might buy something from you. That's probably getting a little overwhelming here, but those are all of the main things that you want to focus on for why you should only focus on a few topics. And then, like I said, over time, you can broaden your niche a little bit. I could do an entire video on why you should niche down, but that is the basics. Once that is done, you can start writing your first blog post. And there are endless amounts of options of what you can do for your first blog post. You could pretty much write anything that you wanted because it is your first blog post. There's nothing new on your blog. There's nothing to link it to. You don't really know if your audience is going to be interested in this topic. There's an endless amount of options. And I know you probably have a ton of ideas as well. So you might be a little overwhelmed as to what should I post as my first blog post. And I think what one of the common answers or common go-tos is to do an introduction post. Here's what you're going to find on the blog. Here's what it's about. Here's when I'm going to post. here's following me on social media, things like that, doing an introductory type post to start off your blog. And honestly, I don't think it's really worth it because it's likely that not that many people are going to read it, because if you put it out to your followers on social media, your brand new account that likely doesn't have that many followers on it, chances are no one really cares who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, unless they've read a few posts from you, they know who you are, they're going to start to care about you over time. But if this is your very first post, likely people aren't going to read it. It's definitely never going to rank on Google. No one's going to be searching it up because it's not really a question. There's not anything that people can really get out of it in terms of how am I being helped by your information. And therefore, I think it really isn't worth it. I would save the introduction for your About Me page and just get right into the content of whatever it is that you're starting out with. However, if you are feeling a lot of pressure to start your first blog post because you're like, it needs to be perfect, I want to get something out there and I want it to do well right away. First of all, I would lower the expectations a little bit. I hate to burst your bubble, but your first post is probably going to be one of your worst. I know mine are. I'm still going through and updating the 100 and some odd posts that are on my site. They're terrible. They didn't really get a lot of traction because they're your first ones and they're not going to do very well. So I would do your best to take the pressure off of your first post. And if in doing that, you decide I am going to post an introductory post, you can do that. It's fine. If that is what's going to get you to start posting on your blog, go for it. I can't fault you for that because if you look at the very first video that I posted on this channel, it is an introductory video. And I knew going into it that it wasn't going to do very well. A lot of people weren't going to care. And I was okay with that fact. And I just knew that if I didn't start posting on my YouTube channel, I was never going to start. And so I kind of had a little bit of an idea, somewhat of an idea going into what I wanted to say. And then there was no script. There was just record and post. And I knew that I didn't even want to post a thumbnail on that video. I intentionally did that because I thought I was going to spend a bunch of time doing a thumbnail, probably get frustrated with it, and then never want to post again. So I just threw something out there. But since I knew that video was going to be relatively pointless, within the next day or two, I posted an actual video that was going to help people in order to compensate for that. So if that's what's going to make you feel better, if that's what's going to put yourself out there, go for it. Otherwise, just post whatever the heck you want, whatever it is you can think of. I liked to plan my blog post out a little bit. Since this isn't the first blog that I had, I knew a little bit more of what I was doing going into it. So what I did was I came up with 5 or 6 ideas that I could link together in order to start getting some of that interlinking traffic. So you could do that. If you decide I want to post for the first month on this specific topic in my niche, you can think of 5 ideas, 4 ideas, whatever makes you not overwhelmed and what you think you can keep up with, and come up with ideas and then think, what is the first thing people are going to need to know? That's going to be my first blog post. And this post is going to link to this post, which can link to this one, which can link to that one. And you can get 4 posts that maybe interlink with each other to try and get people clicking around your blog a little bit. That's the best advice that I have for what to post for your first blog post. Really, it doesn't matter. Post whatever makes you most comfortable and whatever you're most excited to post about, something like that. Because the good thing to remember is if you do post an introductory post and you decide later, that was stupid, I don't really like it, or you decide your first post wasn't really that good, you can always go back and edit. I am still going back through and editing all of my blog posts. It's actually recommended that you edit and update your stuff in order to help it rank better on Google with more updated information, more updated links, different stuff like that, update the images, all of that. So you can always go back and edit it later if you don't like your first blog post. After you start getting some content on your blog, now it's time to start some social media accounts so you can get some traffic to those brand new blog posts. At some point, the dream is going to be ranking on Google and getting some of that organic traffic. However, that's going to take a minimum of 6 months, especially with a new domain. So that's going to be the dream, but at first, you're going to need to rely on social media for all of your traffic. It's a good idea to go on all of the social media sites that you can think of or that you want to eventually post on and secure your specific social media handle. Because you want to try to get the same handle or as similar as possible across all social media platforms when you are starting out. However, that doesn't mean that you need to post on all of these all at once. You just kind of want to secure that name so no one else can take it. And then you want to start out with learning 1 to 2 social media platforms, and that's it. There are a lot of them and more of them are popping up. I'm looking at you, Threads, social media medias are always changing their algorithms. It's going to be hard to keep up with, especially within your first month of starting a blog. So I would pick 1 to 2 max to learn how to use, and then the rest of them you can either post on them sporadically, forget about them altogether, and not all social media apps or niches are equal. Some blogs are going to do better on Pinterest, others may do better on Twitter. So you're going to need to figure out what's best for you and your niche. I think a majority of bloggers should be on Pinterest. There is going to be a select few niches that are not going to do well on Pinterest, but the majority of them are going to do well. So I would always start out on Pinterest because Pinterest is a search engine, not a social media site. So they have their own form of SEO, and it takes roughly 6 to 12 months for a new account to start ranking in search and really getting consistent traffic to your blog. So I would start that ASAP. And if you are looking to get into Pinterest and you are really confused on where to start, I would recommend the course called Pinteresting Strategies. I'm currently going through it myself for the second time, and it is mind-blowing, the strategies that she mentions in there and the different things that she's come up with. It is honestly mind-blowing, and I have been using Pinterest well before this blog. I've been using Pinterest for blogging since 2017, and these are some strategies I have never heard of. So if you are interested in learning Pinterest, Pinteresting Strategies is Heat Pinterest course content. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave the link down below in the description. Next though, I would look at Twitter for your blog. Twitter is one of my top referrers behind Pinterest and YouTube. So it's honestly great to try and get on Twitter, but Instagram is another one that you can try to build a following on. I personally look at Instagram like building traffic outside of your blog and building an audience outside of your blog and kind of like building up your brand. Almost, because I find it really hard to get people off of Instagram and onto your blog. It's definitely possible. I've gotten some clients from Instagram. I do get some blog views from Instagram if you link your blog post in your stories and stuff like that. But I think Instagram is more for like building a brand as opposed to really getting blog traffic. Next, you're going to want to start thinking about how to make money with your blog. And all of the ways that you think of may not happen until later on down the road, but it's a good idea to get the ball rolling and just thinking about what ways would I like to make money in the future. But there are some money-making strategies that you can do within the first month. So let's talk about those. Putting ads on your blog is one of the best set it and forget it methods that you can use. However, because of that, it's not going to be a very good income source, at least not for a while. You make money with ads on your blog based off of the amount of people that see ads on your blog. So if you don't have that many page views, not that many people are going to be seeing your ads. Therefore, you're not going to be making much money. But it is better than nothing in the beginning. It is something that you can set up probably within the first month. You can either start with Google AdSense, or I am currently with Azoic. Neither of them have page view requirements. However, you are still going to need to have some original content on your blog before they will accept you. So you definitely can't do this day one. But once you get a little bit of content on your blog, I would say, 10 to 15 blog posts maybe. There really is no like metric. They want a good amount of original content on your blog to prove that there's actually stuff for them to place ads on to begin with before you apply. Now, affiliate marketing is the next thing that you're going to want to get started, and this might take some time to make money from, but it is something that you can at least get started within your first month. You're going to want to apply to affiliate companies and get links put into your blog post so you can hopefully try to get some eyes on your affiliate content and maybe make some sales, but I would not have too big of an expectation within at least your first month for making affiliate marketing money, but you never know. And if you do want to learn more about affiliate marketing, check out this video right here, which is the complete guide for affiliate marketing beginners, or check out this video, which is deadly mistakes that beginner affiliate marketers make. Make sure to like if you like and subscribe to my channel down below for more videos just like this. Bye.